Hey everyone, so once again it's the day of leaks and I'm here to put out my prediction for My Hero Academia Chapter 320. I'll be giving my thoughts on what I thought about Chapter 319 along the way, but this video is purely a prediction on what I think will occur next. Also, I do have a few theories that I'm going to sprinkle in here and there because I've been trying to figure out a way to weasel the Vigilantes into My Hero Academia for 2 years at this point. And before we open up shop today, I gotta be upfront on something. The reason why I don't do spoiler videos is because I really don't like to support the leaks. Yeah, I'll get spoiled from my timeline because I have mutuals whose grinds revolve around breaking the stories, but I guess in my case, enjoying the wait for the app to be updated every Sunday is awesome. I like to think of myself as a pretty patient dude when it comes to consumable media, so yeah, while I'll just be spoiled because someone I followed retweeted the entire chapter's script, this TV-headed protagonist enjoys the wait. So that's why I drop my videos on Wednesdays right before the leaks. I like to be the person that's the last to put out a theory, so when people search for leaks, they stumble across my prediction. It's a little bit of an insight towards my thought process on things. Anyway, that aside, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on that grind to 100,000 subscribers and we ain't gonna stop till we get there. But we got a lot to talk about here, so remember, there will be spoilers ahead for My Hero Academia and its spin-off My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Now I think it's time for us to head inside and grab ourselves a drink. Welcome to the bar, folks. So, Chapter 319 confirmed to all of us one of the theories that I was developing last week. Originally, I thought a fight was just going to break out between Deku and Bakugo while the rest of 1A made their way over, but I did mention along the way that it was possible that Deku might end up taking on the entirety of the class. So with that aspect being confirmed for this week's chapter, I think there's a lot to take into consideration when discussing what might happen in the future. When I read this most recent chapter on Sunday, I couldn't help but write down ideas as I went. Also, if you do want to see my live reactions to the week's chapter, I do a short stream every Sunday at twitch.tv/Dan Exclaims. The link to my channel is in the description down below. I am debating on uploading the live reactions to the channel, so let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Alright, enough of that, let's head over to the wall and talk about these theories that I got rattling around inside my TV. Alrighty, so with Chapter 319 ending with 1A about to be crushed by Deku, I feel that there are several different theories that we can just rattle off. The first theory being the most blatant of them all. Deku crushes Class 1A and tells them to stop following him. This is the one that I feel is less likely to happen. If Horikoshi does opt in for the power of camaraderie to bring back Deku, it will not end with him destroying Class 1A. If the power of friendship is the case though, it'll probably end with him being unable to harm Ochako. Deku is at a point right now where he needs to adopt the mentality of Bakugo and Endeavor actually, and what I mean by that is, I'll save you when you need me, as long as when I'm in trouble, you save me. So I would say that the first believable ending to this is Deku understanding that he can defeat Class 1A, but when it comes down to it, he'll have it hammered home that these people are his allies and his assets. Also, I guess I kinda have to throw in the possibility that 1A actually might defeat Deku, showing him that the power of teamwork trumps any willingness to go out on your own. And one of the Deku beatdown theories that's been suggested to me by my colorist and thumbnail artist Macinator was, what if All Might asks Stain to assist Deku? And that is a wild-ass theory, but it could definitely be a possibility. We have been waiting for that conversation to take place between Stain and All Might for months, maybe even years at this point. So if that conversation between the two of them ends on a positive note, for all we know, it could be a possibility that Stain and Deku team up. Now, I understand that this theory is a gigantic what if, because if Stain comes to the aid of Deku, there's really one character that's gonna be like, what the fuck, and that's Ida. Because if there was one character that I would really like to talk about from Chapter 319, it's Ida. Take a look at the very first page of Chapter 319. Besides the fact that they gave us an amazing color page, look at the first two people that react to the news that Deku left UA. Now, the reason why they chose Ochako and Tenya is because despite Bakugo being Deku's eternal rival, those two characters are Deku's friend group. And the reason why I'm just elaborating on Ochako and Ida is because every student in 1A is friends, but amongst the 20 somewhat students, every single student has a friend group. Like in Bakugo's case, his friend group consists of Kirishima and Kaminari. Deku's is Ochako and Tenya. but this chapter really focused on their reactions particularly. And while, yeah, we did get this amazing scene right here where you see Sero and the rest of the forgotten parts of Class 1A reach out for the locator device, we had reactions like this instead from his two friends. Ochako comes from a place of love. She's head over heels for the kid. But Ida, man, Ida for all intents and purposes is Deku's Shikamaru. And what I mean by that is Ida doesn't know Deku's deep dark secrets, but he's always gonna be there because they're friends. And when Ida reads his note, we can instantly imply that he's thinking of one thing: Hosu City. That was the night Ingenium 2 was born, but it was also the night that Ida made one of the most selfish decisions he's ever made. He put his life in jeopardy, and Deku, with help in part from Todoroki, saved him from the hero killer. So while Bakugo says that he knows Deku the best in this situation, Ida, knowing the situation, knows how it feels to have a villain haunt you and become your obligation. The thing is, in conjunction to the situation that happened at Hosu City, Deku is so overwhelmingly strong at this point that he views all of his friends as liabilities. So if I was Horikoshi and I wanted to throw a wrench into Ida's psyche even more, I'd have Ida forced to team up with Stain to take down Deku, because what if All Might asks Stain to help bring back his pupil? That puts Stain on the side of UA instead. And if Deku does burn through everyone, which I'm fully expecting him to do, unexpected cataclysms aside, we could see Ida forced to work with the devil that he hates so much. Either way, you could see the hurt in Ida's face every single panel that he's in. Because while Ochako was like, yeah, let's go fuck Deku up, his wording felt more like, dude, you saved me from darkness once. Now I'm watching you not just embrace that darkness, but have a straight up revelry in the dark. And yes, I did just say revelry in the dark. And before I get to my Koichi bit, I want to talk about the panel in which the class is gathered in a circle at the beginning of the chapter. While we could say that each character is kind of doodled weirdly, the body language of each character says it all. Ochako, absolutely stunned. Kirishima, he has his head slumped down. But Ida's propped forward. A common body language pickup that someone is listening to you more than usual is when someone is leaned forward and is making an intense amount of eye contact. And that's what Ida's doing. This entire chapter, he's pissed, he's upset, he feels out of the loop, and he thought that more or less Deku was his closest friend. Now, as for the end of the chapter, when Class 1A is assembled in front of the civilians that were controlled by Dictator, the three students front and center making direct eye contact is Ida, Bakugo, and Ochako. This is meant to hammer the effect to the reader that they are the ones that are most affected by this situation. Now, me personally, I don't want Stain to show up to the situation. I want this to get resolved amongst the students at UA. Deku kind of insulted every single one of them by going out on his own and declaring them all pretty much liabilities. So they certainly do have a lot to prove to their friend. Even though every single kid in Class 1A is a hero in their own right, even the #1 hero at one point in time had a sidekick. So to think that you can take on everything by yourself is just an extremely selfish move on Deku's part. And unfortunately, our boy's gotta learn the hard way. Though what I do want to happen for Stain though is that he goes to confront All Might, and then that confrontation results in a hoodied vigilante coming to his aid. Yeah, that's right, I'm pulling another crossover theory out of this TV. What would be more poetic than Koichi arriving to save All Might from the guy that tried to kill Koichi 5 years prior? And after Koichi stops Stain, Koichi and All Might finally have their first conversation. I know that this theory is possibly the most unlikely out of the bunch that I've suggested during this video, but I did mention in my most recent Vigilantes chapter review that the possibility of Vigilantes ending after 3 chapters, because 3 chapters in Vigilantes equates to 6 chapters of My Hero Academia, is more than enough time for them to do the Deku versus 1A stuff and move back to where All Might is. And I know that there's a hefty amount of people that are pushing for Stain to become a shadow for Deku to make sure that he doesn't get himself killed, but he's one of the best villains in this series. So if he were to make a turn back to anti-hero, they better set it up right. And yeah, I know it's unlikely, but if All Might ended up on the chopping block with Stain ready to kill him, Danger Sense would go absolutely batshit insane. So what if Deku gets the danger sense feeling, zooms off scene to go save All Might, only to see a certain hoodie-clad vigilante standing there instead? That would be a fight that we've all been waiting to see. So yeah, with that being said, those are my theories for what I think might possibly happen in the future of My Hero Academia. We'll find out more about Chapter 320 tonight when spoilers drop, and I'm sure everyone will flood back to the video to let me know whether or not my predictions were correct. I didn't get to touch upon the UA barrier, so I think, to be quite honest, I might have a video about that in general. Look, if there's nothing more secure than UA right now, and since the students of 1A are outside of UA, somebody could arguably make the point to say that the villains could take over UA and in turn turn it into their stronghold. So I think that maybe that could be a theory video all in itself. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to hear a theory about the UA barrier and what it could be used for. Oh, also, along with the barrier, we got a re-acknowledgement that the UA traitor still exists among the people. So it might not be a student in 1A, but the traitor theory is still alive and well, everybody. This chapter alone set up so much, and while it was a departure from the usual action, it gave us this emotional stakes that we needed so desperately, because 50% of the story is those emotional stakes. So I'm definitely anxious to see what happens here on out. Though for now, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later. Cheers.